Closer and welcome to Tales of Wales, the podcast that never fails to be that lunchtime cheeky pint on a Thursday that leaves you calling in sick till next Tuesday, making sure you pull that 2-day believer. It's the rice and chips to your booner. It's the ristle added to your chicken off the bone at Dorothy's on Chippy Lane. It's the best of times. It's the worst of times. It is modern times.
Let them eat ristles. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you haven't had a ristle, then where you at? What's that meme where it goes? Do you know that meme I'm on about? Where it goes, oh yeah, it's that person goes, if you're not at the gym, where the fuck you at? Have you seen that?
I know you mean.
Yeah. If you're not at the pool, yeah.
If you're not in a ristle after the club, what are you doing?
What the fuck? Yeah. All right. Sorry, that's maybe not the most interesting intro, but
I liked it. It was good, mate. Also, you went with some real intensity there in like the second and third sentence. The intensity ramped up quite. I was like, "Fucking hell, these go! I'm in it. I'm going for it."
Well, we never prep the intro, and then whenever the other person says, "Hey, can you do this week's intro?" we panic so fucking much. We're like,
it's rude to say no, I don't want to do it, isn't it? So you just got to go, I'll type one now, and then you got to like sort of pluck things from
figure out what it is. When we tend to do it, whoever's doing the episode, the other person has to do it. The one thing I have to do, which I still find it an absolute albatross around my neck. It's absolutely exhausting. Anyway,
the thing is, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've been. It's been not a heavy weekend, but I think I'm going to feel this tomorrow. To be honest,
it's Sunday night, isn't it? And we're doing our first Sunday night record in a while, and because it's for me, I finished dry Jan, even though it's still technically Jan. We decided to have a bit of a knees up, and a good old fashioned booze up.
We have. You said you wanted to have a couple of bevs, and I said, "Who am I to fucking deny you such a thing?" So I had a couple on Friday, not too mad, just a chilled one. I didn't go to bed till about 4 this morning from last night.
Was this yesterday?
I know. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I
think we know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sat there, right, and I was like, "There's no need for me to be up later than like 1:30." And I was looking at my phone going 1:30, and then I was going, but I got a bit more rum left. Shall I just have like a little? And I get into like a rabbit hole of YouTube videos. This one was productive,
right wing YouTube videos.
I'm just watching. Yeah,
Tate
just watching
brothers.
bloody the Andrew Tate and fucking what's his name? The one that sounds like fucking Kermit.
I love. My mate always sends me videos of him crying.
It's just the most beautiful thing in the world.
He says that because I love him. What's he?
What is his name?
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. That's
I'm going to drop in a voice. We should drop in a clip of him speaking.
And that you give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay. It's necessary. What the hell are we going to do without men?
And then my mate Geth does an impression of him because whenever something bad happens or we get upset, like in football, something goes our way, he goes, "It's not right." Just that little Jordan Peterson wobble. He's like Canadian, isn't he? He's got that weird like transatlantic. I think I can't quite put his accent, but it's a strange accent. He's a bit like, "It's me, Kermit the Frog. You drive me live."
It's the same with bloody Andrew Tate though. He's got such a weird like cadence to his speech.
Yeah,
he's like,
got such a
if I was in a coffee shop, and then I did this, and the terrorist came in, I knock him out.
He's got a fat tongue. He's got such a fat tongue.
Yeah, he's got such a fat tongue. Yeah, I'd love him to fucking poke that bad boy out and let me fucking measure it because it must be huge.
The circumference of that tongue. No wonder he's so right wing. His brain's so thick, it's full of tongue. It's all
still the biggest
up.
of mouths. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Man, just before we carry on, because I know we're on a roll. You coming through like really fucking loud.
I'm loud, am I?
Really loud, like you're blowing my eardrums out. I've abided it as long as I can. All right, I thought it'd sort itself out.
What's this like?
I don't know. Is the mic like close to your mouth or something? I don't know.
No, it's not. How about now? Is it still really loud?
That's a bit better. That's not deafening me so much. That's okay.
What about now?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's a bit more normal range, normal conversation.
We could keep this in just in case at the start. I had to turn the mics down. I don't know what it is. I haven't
Would
done
it
anything
be
different.
a Tales for Wales podcast if we didn't have some sort of technical fucking glitch right at the start? Yeah.
Well, sorry, like you said, it was going well. We had some good bants.
I hate to interrupt it. I really did, but like I was like, my ear's gonna fucking burst.
I'll try and move it. My mic's slightly closer, but I did say my levels were really high, so I brought the levels down, so that it's peaked. It's stopped.
You sound fine now. You're all good.
Sweet.
Yeah. What were we saying?
Well,
Andrew Tate, what a knob. Yeah.
We've already turned on the Tates, but we've already been banned in Russia. So one of our episodes recently got us banned from Russia. So we got Putin breathing down our neck, and next we got
fucking
the Tate
Kremlin
brothers.
knocking at our door. Yeah.
From the Kremlin to the
I don't know about you.
Gremlins.
I'm sniffing my fucking beers. Is that fucking a bit of uranium in there?
Is that a Novichok going down?
Cesium. Yeah, you got to be careful because the thing is when you step to the man like we do, and we're a zeitgeist shifter. What can you do? Do you
reckon we should tell someone about that, or do we just?
I don't know because I mean YouTube said it was copyright, and of course the Kremlin wants you to believe that. But it's but if for those who don't know, we did an episode on Husovka, which is a town in Ukraine, or Donetsk, city in Ukraine. And it was founded by a Welsh guy, and I don't know. I think in that episode, we were just on about going over there and sorting out the Russians or something. I don't know.
But I think the Russians don't like to say it's part of Ukraine because it has a lot of Russian tendencies. I think even back then it was a part of Russia when I can't quite remember the history.
The sort of Soviet and all that.
Yeah. So the Russians are really pro not letting it be anything other than Russian. So I think saying it's a Welsh town,
let alone Welsh.
Yeah, you might end up in fucking Salisbury at this rate. Getting Novichok to Kingdom Come.
Novichok. Do you think
if we get sent off to the Gulag, we'll still be doing the Tales Wales podcast from there? Freezing.
You can't silence the voice of truth, mate. Okay, so they'd have to wheel us out to a mic and just
So back in 1060, this happened. Just mining rocks, speaking into little pebbles.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't adjust my mic settings because my hands are worn down to nubs from working in the gulags.
Tales for Wales, I love those guys. I've gone Dutch. Hey, Tales for Wales, just me in the Kremlin, yeah? Smoking a pancake.
Just quoting Austin Powers. Why not? Yeah. Why not?
I really do miss those. Like we were saying this the other day, weren't we? They don't make comedies anymore, and it's not like a fucking you can't say anything anymore. But I just mean generally, Hollywood don't really make many comedies.
I thought you were going to go on a fucking Ricky Gervais
style.
You can't say fucking anything anymore, can you? Even though I stood up here in front of like 10,000 people, I get paid loads of money for it.
That's what's so funny about those people who say you can't say anything anymore. They have the biggest shows on the biggest platforms like Netflix. Because, yes, you can say whatever you like, and you're getting paid so much for it.
A lot of money for it, yeah.
I hate it. But no, I
know what you mean. It's like the R-rated comedy is like a lost art, isn't it?
Well, apparently they don't make them because they never make much money in the cinema, and they used to make loads of money from DVD rentals and DVD sales. So, Dude, Where's My Car, Superbad, all those things there. They were bought by 16-year-old boys who had pocket money or whatever, or change, and their first jobs or whatever. So, that market's gone now. You don't have DVDs. So that's where the comedies are gone.
The licensing to, streaming services and stuff probably isn't as lucrative, is it? But now, the last one I watched, a proper R-rated comedy one, was that No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. Did you see that?
No, but I do quite like her.
It was all right. It wasn't terrible, but
she's funny, isn't she? She's
she's quite a funny person. But it was just you look back at your old school, your Wedding Crashers. I'm trying to think of anything that doesn't include Vince Vaughn, but unfortunately,
I was going to say that Dodgeball.
A lot of those, Dodgeball.
I Love You, Man.
I Love You, Man. Yeah, those sorts of ones. And there's just nothing on those. It was okay. But those ones are so good.
No, my favourite are the stoner comedies. So the Seth Rogen ones, the Superbad, what are the other ones? Superbad, Pineapple Express.
Judd Apatow is a name that is in a lot of them, isn't he?
Yeah. Although that one where they go to North Korea is shocking. It's so bad, and it nearly causes a war.
I love The Interview. I love that film. There's an absolutely amazing scene in that where James Franco, and I hope to God it's on deliberate. He does like the worst impression of Gollum from Lord of the Rings because he's like trying to do an analogy about how much he loves his friend and like his job and everything. He's making all these Lord of the Rings references, and then he goes and he says to Seth Rogen, "You're my precious," and it's like so bad. There's nothing like Gollum, and I think it's
if we can find that clip online, let's try and drop that in.
I really will try. It's niche, but I'll try.
Yeah. Have you? I suppose we're 10 minutes in. I don't know. We like catching up anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
Do you reckon we should read out a review and maybe get into it? Because you said it's a slightly longy today.
Yeah, it's a bit of a longy, right? So, yeah.
Actually, before that, it's the Patreon live.
I've set it up. I haven't published it yet.
But do we have a handle to find us on there?
Yes, we do.
Well, should we just we can keep this in, but should we do that now? Fanfare. Yeah. I don't know fanfare.
Yeah.
Hang on. Fanfare, ready? Oh, it's been a while since I've done that on the pod. A month of doing it. Yeah, I am, to be fair. So here this is fanfare, the glug of a carlin. That's how we're announcing the big reveal.
There we go. It's happening now. Yeah. So yeah, you can find us on Patreon. We have not set up at this current point when we've recorded this. By the time it comes out, probably will be. We will have set up shop, but
probably will be. We're so unorganized.
But yeah, if you want to have a go on our Patreon, because we have had lots of requests.
Let's say it will be done. And this episode will come out on the 11th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. So when you listen to this, so our podcast, our Patreon will be live by the 11th, and there's currently we've already recorded about 4. We're gonna go through a tiered system. Well, we said this before. We have a tiered system in place there. But yeah, search for it on there. Whatever you could. Not whatever you could.
It's an easy one to find on Patreon. Yeah. It's just Tales for Wales, as in all the words, not the number 4 like we usually do. But yeah, just find us on there, and I know we're being a bit elusive at the moment, but by the time this comes out, it'll all be set up, and you'll be able to see everything. So.
Yeah, so we won't give any spoilers what you might find because we don't know what you'll find.
Because we don't know what we're going to do. Yeah.
But the plan is we're going to do 2 episodes a month. And what those episodes will be about will vary. You have to be on the Patreon to find out, because there's some special tiers for Patreon members. So if you're the highest paid one, you have special things for you on there. I suppose for now, that's all you need to know. If you have a look, you'll before you sign up for anything, they have a list of what the tiers are, so you can know what they all are.
You're not going to blind. Don't worry.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, and we're going to dedicate 2 episodes a month, which might be history, but might also just be a bit more. Well, we don't know. We're going to let you decide. Really, we're going to speak to Patreon.
Yeah, the first few are kind of like. The first few are like kind of our attempt at what we think will be good, and then after that, we're going to sort of take a lot of direction from the paid Patreon boys and girls, basically, and we'll sort of take your steer.
And would it be Tales for Wales if we didn't absolutely murder any kind of call to action?
I was going to say, what an absolute shit promo we just gave ourselves there.
Yeah, we're promoting something that doesn't actually exist yet.
So but it will. Stagnant and stunted.
So, yeah.
But there we go.
Go prove to us that this sort of guerrilla marketing works. And go on there now and have a little look.
Such a generous way to categorize this guerrilla marketing.
I don't really know what that means. I just heard the term said a few times.
Just a couple of dumb fucking apes just speaking into a mic.
Yeah. Oh, I want to watch Planet of the Apes. What a good film that is.
You made it sound like it's been off this fucking recording. I'm going to watch Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that's what we can do on the Patreon. So Patreon, that's live. Get around it. Next, do you have a review to read out to show people why they should join up to the Patreon?
I do. It's not a review, but a little like comment we had that is relevant to the subject matter today, so I thought I'd include it. And this is from a guy called Lozenger T, and he said he'd give us a message on Instagram, and he said, "Hi guys, big fan of the pod. Wondered if you have any plans to cover the Chartist rebellion and maybe John Frost, the last man to be sentenced to being hung, drawn, and quartered. Anyway, keep it up. We'll try and spare a few quid on the Patreon too.
Oh,
So
ledge.
the reason I chucked him on the top of this one is because we do delve a little bit slightly into the Chartist stuff in this episode.
Oh.
And I just wanted to say, lozenge tea, while you'd have a lozenge would soothe your throat, lozenge tea has soothed my soul by sending me that or us that comment. God, I fucking balls that up as well. It's just like, I had the perfect setup in my head, and I
perfect setup. Isn't he also sent us some shekels in our fund thing as well?
Yes, he actually he donated to the pod as well. So he's obviously one of our favourite people.
He's put his money where his mouth is.
Exactly, money equals love to us.
That's why you put a lozenge in your gob. So this guy is very mouth central. he's a
lot of gob-based bands here.
Yeah. And I know we've had quite a few messages on Instagram, and I've been really bad at getting back to people. So I'm going to do that tonight after these episodes once I've had bevs. But I think I've got back to most people, and really appreciate everybody who's reaching out because that makes us feel happy.
Yeah, we're not lazy. We're just overwhelmed a lot. I know we're so stunted tonight. We just can't keep a fucking thought together, can we?
Yeah, and it's not like we're fucking Harry Styles on Instagram. I just shit at any because I don't check it because I have my own Instagram account and then we have this one and then I'll forget to always read it. You don't need to know this. What's wrong with us?
Why are we waffling? Isn't it? Yeah. I was literally about to jump in and go like, oh, it's a bit like the old Tales for Wales email account. Like sometimes I'm checking my own emails. I think, oh, should I? And I was like, why the fuck would I even? Why am I even thinking about bringing that up?
Are we the worst? What's wrong with it? It's so boring.
This weird Sunday vibe we got going.
It is. Isn't it a bit of a Sunday vibe? It's naughty, but I do think a Sunday pint is up there with one of the best pints because you shouldn't be having it. It's like you're meant to be starting your week solid, going into it. Sunday night scaries. You're in bed. You don't really you want to be tucked up by 10 p.m. on a Sunday night, don't you? Latest. And you had a shower, you're fresh, you're comfy.
Guess what's happened? We were chasing away the scaries with lots of... Exactly. Yeah, I do love a Sunday. A Sunday pint is just... It's like an airport pint. You know, it's like, oh, naughty. I like it.
We actually cover that in the Patreon, don't we? I think we list our...
Oh, we do?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give that
preview
spoiler away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think that's... They'll be rushing to the fucking Patreon page now. What, you talk about pints? That's amazing.
I didn't think that'd come in. Oh, lordy.
That's amazing. So out of piece for you guys.
We really should get going because we're...
Oh, Christ, yeah. Christ, let's just get it done.
All right. That lady was right when she left that message a year ago. There's too much jibber jabber. I think really there is too much jibber jabber.
The first time I thought, you know what, Olivia 2000 and whatever it was, you were onto something there. Maybe there is a bit too much. Oh, right. But anyway, right. Hang on. Let me get settled.
Well, I'll just say quickly. I haven't drunk on the pod for like episodes now, and that is going down so well. It's so nice to be back on the bebs. And it's my second can of Carlin. I imagine you're on rum.
No, I'm on the... Listen to that. I'm on the Budweisers tonight, man. But I've been over the in-laws for Sunday roast. Yeah. And I did have a few Coronas over there. So I'm very well lubricated at the moment, shall we say. I know, I don't know. When I said that, I was like, oh, this is gross.
This might be one of those episodes we never release.
It's just gonna on the scrap heap with you.
On the old scrap heap. All right.
Right. Okay. I'm focused now. Okay. So today I'm going to be chewing your ears off about a guy named William Price, who was a Welsh physician and a political activist back in the 1800s, known for his devout Welsh nationalism and his involvement with the neo-druidic religious movement, often described as one of the most significant figures in the Welsh Victorian era. But before I get to all things old Pricey accomplished...
Oh, can we just say as well, this episode is thanks to... Sorry, it's thanks to Reese. I just realised, but the reason we're doing this is because one of our dear listeners, who's always sending in great suggestions on stuff, and he also let me just read this out because he says something I think is absolutely mad. Where are you, Reese? There we go. And he sent over some links and some, which is really useful. If you ever want anything else to do anything, just send us the research so we can do it and not have to search ourselves.
Just we have to do ourselves, yeah.
Oh, he also said that, you remember, I think we mentioned that Aberkenfig is like Abergenfig in English. And
Oh, right,
and,
yeah.
and
Because we
he
were confused
said
about the K, weren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, because we said there wasn't a K, and he said the letter K was in Welsh until the 1500s because printers ran out of the letter K. And I said I simply refuse to believe that about the K. You're trying to hoodwink us. And
Yeah.
he said no. It sounds to be fair, it's true. He said it's yeah, because Welsh wasn't a written language, etc., etc., etc. When it came to getting like printers and things made, they just didn't send many to Wales or something. I've done that a disservice, but trying to read that whilst balancing my laptop on my knee and my dog's next to me, I can't quite remember. But yeah, apparently that is because of printers. I'm so sorry to have interrupted you. We'll have to edit around how long that took me to find.
Thank God you injected that vital bit of information.
Well, Reese is always sending good information, and I've absolutely turned him up a kipper there, but
butchered his efforts.
Yeah, so he told us to do this episode, and you said it's a mad episode, so I'm glad.
Yeah.
Next, we'll look into why there's no Ks or printers in Wales. But
yeah,
for
I'm sorry,
God's
Reese,
sake, let's focus on one thing.
I don't fucking believe that it's not a printer thing because surely the whole of the UK would you print with ink, you don't print with letters.
No, I think with machines. I think he explains this, and he sent me a post, but for the life of me now,
I do not bother to read it. Just went, I don't.
No, he sent me a good Reddit link to it, but I'm just stressed now. Okay, I've been overwhelmed.
Anyway,
I'm going to try. What has happened here?
I'm going to try and right the ship now. Okay, and I'm going to carry on. So I'm going to go back to when William Price, when he was born. Okay, so he was born in a place called Rydri near Caerphilly in South Wales on March 4th, 1800. And was believed to be the descendant of Rhys Fawr ap Meredydd, who was widely known for his valour in the Battle of Bosworth in 1485, where he fought on the side of Henry VII. So he was a man of sort of proud Welsh pedigree, if you like.
Yeah.
Price's parents got married in 1793 under controversial circumstances for the time, because William's mother, Mary, was of a lower social standing than his father, which was considered taboo back then. So William's dad, also called William Price, he does seem like a little bit of a sweetheart because he was reported in an article at the time that after his wedding he ran into the road with glee after the union, shouting "Druid of Llantrisant, edrychwch," which is Welsh for "I've stolen her, look, look." And apparently he's very happy about the fact he married this.
That's an admission that he's just robbed someone.
He's literally stolen her. Yeah. William Price also had 3 siblings called Elizabeth, Mary, and Anne. At home, the Prices spoke Welsh as a first language. Wales. But Williams quickly learned English through his school that he went to in Machen. He remained in school for only 3 years, from the ages of 10 to 13, and proved himself a successful student, passing most of his exams. It wasn't long before he decided to become a doctor and moved to Caerphilly to become an apprentice to a surgeon called Evan Eddards, paying for his tuition with money given from various family members. Now, I think it's absolutely mad that you go to school at 10, leave at 13. They're like, you're sorted. You are qualified to go and be a doctor's apprentice now. Absolutely madness.
Yeah. I think there was a thing, like more people used to die at the hands of medicine prior to World War II than were saved by it.
I was going to say, well, no fucking shit with putting a bunch of 13-year-olds as bloody junior doctors or whatever. This silliness. Anyway, by 1820, Price's apprenticeship came to an end, and despite having next to no money, he moved to merry old London to continue his education, where he learned under a Sir William Blizzard in the London Hospital in Whitechapel, where in his spare time he would offer his medical services to the wealthy to fund his studies. He eventually became a member of the Royal College of Surgeons of England, and although he contemplated taking his new career further afield to work in India, he eventually settled on going back to Wales to be a general practitioner. the man just had a love for home and hearth, apparently.
Heraeth, a longing.
Heraeth, yes. So once back in Wales, he first worked at Penturch, which is just up the road from me at the moment. He worked in Penturch Ironworks as a medical attendant, and he lived in a place with a cool as fuck name called Ynys y Llewod Dion, or in English, Island of the Black Lions.
That's
I thought
pretty
that
cool.
I was like, that's a pretty badass name for a place. I bet it's mundane as fuck, but it sounds cool. He set up a medical practice in Glyntarf and worked there for 7 years before going to a spot of trouble after renting a farm in a place called Upperboat. And the farm was called Porth y Glor, or Coalport in English. So old Pricey, he filled his farm with goats and various cattle, which ate and damaged trees and greenery around the property and throughout the neighbourhood. This damage became so extensive that his landlord decided to give him the boot, but William just flat out ignored him. He just refused to engage with this guy. So by the time he was served with an action of ejection, Price set all of his animals loose onto the main road next to the farm and tied himself to a chair in the room of his house furthest from the front door. Just to, I mean, tying yourself to a chair in any room would have been annoying, but like to do it, like it's like I just wanted to walk those extra steps. You know, it's fucking mad. So after the animals had all been caught and tied, they eventually carried Price out in his chair, and then they put him down in the middle of the road he'd caused so much disruption on. So they just popped him in the road, left him tied up. Anyway, and surprisingly, he decided to move house after that little incident, and he decided he'd go live in the Taff Valley near Pontypridd. It was here he not only was elected chief surgeon at the Brown Lennox Chainworks in Pontypridd, but also began to pursue and be influenced by left-wing political ideas. So Price was a very proud Welsh nationalist, and he found a lot of like-minded friends from wealthy families in the area. He even gave a speech on Welsh history and literature at the 1834 Eisteddfod. So basically, he's like Tales for Wales of the 1800s, of course. The speech he gave was said to be one of the most beautiful, eloquent speeches that was ever heard, and as a result, he was given the job of judging the Eisteddfod's bardic competitions that year. Price became more and more invested in Welsh culture, specifically ancient Druids and the neo-Druidic movement, and even joined the Society of the Rocking Stone, which was a neo-Druidic group that met at the Maen Chwyf Stone Circle in Pontypridd. And by 1837, he became one of its most influential members. So people who maybe haven't listened before to like the Celtic episodes and stuff, Druids were like your magic men of Celtic societies and things like that. They could, certain ones could pertain the future and things like that. And they were meant to be like, what's the word, like connections to gods, I guess. He taught lessons in Welsh every Sunday in an effort to promote and spread the Welsh language, which he feared was dying out. Because the English were pushing a lot back then to, just to have everyone educated in English, essentially.
Yeah.
He also wanted to build a druidical museum in Pontypridd that would double as a free school for the poor. Oh. Sadly, he didn't get enough support, and the school never materialised. Price was also a stout Chartist, believing that all men had the right to vote, regardless of their wealth or social standing. He wasn't alone in these beliefs either, because especially in Wales, where people had usually very poor working conditions, especially miners, the majority of these workers aligned themselves to the Chartist movement, thinking that by getting stronger political representation, they could then better their working circumstances as well. So many Welsh Chartists in industrial areas of South Wales took up arms in order to ready themselves for revolution against the government, and Price apparently aided them in getting hold of such weaponry. By 1893, he'd even managed to source the movement 7 pieces of field artillery. I couldn't find out exactly what this artillery was, but it's basically said it's like big cannons, big guns, like big boy guns. That same year was when the Newport Rising took place, actually. So for those unfamiliar, the Newport Rising was the last large-scale armed uprising in Wales, when approximately 10,000 people marched on Newport. We'll probably do that as a proper episode on that. Yeah, I was going to say, we'll probably do a proper episode on that at one point, because it is very interesting.
I think we'll put that in soon, because we've had that raised a lot. So we've
had that a few requests, haven't we? Yeah. So I won't go into too much detail, but essentially what it was a clash between these Chartists, so like 10,000 people, and the army, and 22 Chartist marchers were killed, around 50 more injured, lots of gunfire, things like that. Price wasn't actually present at the march on Newport Rising when Newport Rising occurred, but soon realised after seeing the result that the government would surely crack down on those affiliated with the Chartist movement. And I imagine doubly so if you were someone who, gave them fucking cannons and things like that, like big fucking artillery. So Price was shitting himself a bit at this point, because over 200 of those revolutionaries at Newport Rising, they were charged with high treason. 3 of the ringleaders were even hung, drawn, and quartered, which is the last time that ever happened in England and Wales.
Should we save that for the Chartist episode?
Yeah, I'm not going to go in more than that, basically, but I'm just trying to sort of say how serious the fucking the reprimanding was for this sort of uprising. So, to avoid any potential backlash, Lewis fled to France, disguised as a woman as well. So I don't know, he put a wig on and a dress. And
hello.
Oh, I just want to go to France. And then by 1840, he supposedly had what he said was his turning point in his religious life when he visited the Louvre Museum. Price was transfixed on an ancient Greek stone tablet that he mistakenly thought was Celtic, and was sure that the markings on the stone depicted an ancient Celtic bard addressing the moon. This is where he gets a bit mad, right? Because he decided there and then that the inscription on this stone was actually a prophecy from an ancient Welsh prince named Alan Fax, the Welsh prince, of course. This prophecy apparently foretold that a man would come to reveal the true secrets of the Welsh language and to liberate the Welsh people. A historian called Ronald Hutton was quoted as saying, "Nobody else had heard this person or made anything like the same interpretation of the inscription." Basically, it sounds like he was off his tits or just made it up.
On some cheap French plonk.
Yeah, exactly. And nonetheless, Price felt that this prophecy applied to him and that he must return to Wales to achieve Welsh independence from the United Kingdom. So it's he went to this thing, went, "Oh my God, this Celtic bit of stone, it's a prophecy to me." And people were like, "No, it's a Greek stone, it's not Celtic." He went, "A Celtic stone has spoken to me and I need to go back home." So he's gone a bit doolally. He soon returned to Wales, driven by his new purpose, and he set himself up as a druid, along with founding a druidic group that attracted a few other people. Not much is known about how this group operated, but him and his followers used to walk around carrying staffs engraved with figures and letters, and all they do was go on about how marriage was wrong and it enslaved women. That's kind of the only thing they used to talk about. I'm not going to sit here and say I know exactly what druidic dogma is, but I get the feeling it might be a little bit more deep than just going, "Don't get married."
I suppose women were probably more seen as property back then, so it probably was more less. There was less rights for women, so maybe he was well intentioned to be like, "Hey,
could have been a political stance, maybe." Yeah, I feel like if you're going to go, "I'm a druid now," maybe there's more. You should put more to the table than just one issue. I don't know.
What they call that in politics is a one policy party, or like Brexit. The people who go for that is a one. They just go in one idea and they go hard on that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I could sort of see where maybe they're coming from, going we should treat women better, if that was the sort of platform they're going on. But there's just a bunch of them go around going, "Don't get married. Marriage slavery. Marriage is slavery." It's okay, mate, so calm down. So around this time, he also met a woman called Anne Morgan, who he moved in with, and in 1842 they had a daughter that he named Gwenhiolan Iarlles Morganwg, which means Gwenhiolan, Countess of Glamorgan. So imagine your parents just naming you Alan, Count of Dinas Powys, as your actual name. Making you go into school and being like, "Bow to the Count. I'm the Count of Dinas Powys."
So there was no.
She's not a count. She's not actual. Doesn't have a title or anything. Her literal name was Gwenhiolan, Countess of Glamorgan. That's her literal name. So madness. It was shortly after his daughter's birth that he began dressing in what was considered an unconventional manner at the time, donning a fox fur hat and an emerald green cloak. And also growing his hair and beard out, which was very unusual for the time. He organised his own Eisteddfod in Pontypridd in 1844, but no one turned up besides his daughter. I thought it was going to be crushing. That's going to be crushing. But because it was just him and his daughter there, and for something to do, I guess, he initiated his daughter as a bard for the event. Oh, yeah. But can you imagine like setting up all the fucking tents and everything, and then just absolutely no one turns up? Oh. 11 years after that, he held a small-ish march through the streets of Merthyr Tydfil with a group called the Ivorites. These were a friendly group that were very pro-Welsh nationalism, but they also brought with them a guy who was half naked called Myrddin, which is Welsh for Merlin. And the guy, this Merlin guy, or Myrddin, he brought along his goat, and it made the whole like march look really dumb and silly. So like he was a bit miffed. Like it just ruined any sort of seriousness of it. Fast forward then to 1861, and Price had come back to his old idea of a Welsh school in Pontypridd for the poor. This time round, he had the backing of a landowner who was also big into Welsh culture. The landowner backed Price's pet project, but the two quickly fell out, leaving Price in a lot of debt. What's a man to do in such hard times? Fuck off your problems and move back to France, of course. So he moved back to France again. This time it didn't say he was dressed as a woman, but who knows? I just like to think he did. This is where he gets another, in my opinion, bout of like losing the plot a bit. So France seems no good for his mental health, right? Because when he was over there the second time, he started writing to national papers saying that he was the lord of all the southern Welsh, and that all Greek books are works of primitive Welsh bards. Oh. He also claimed that Homer, as in Homer from the Greek, like Iliad and the Odyssey, he was actually a Welsh guy, and he was born near Caerphilly, and that if you needed proof of this, all you needed to do is look in, and I quote, the books of the Chinese.
Oh, he seems mad. He sounds like every drunk outside city centre, outside the train station in town, next to Toy Mike Trev, belting madness into his little...
He's one of those guys that, before the BBC studio was there, you know, when they used to have the fucking grim, endless bus stop there, right in the centre of Cardiff? Yeah. Like the tramps that were like pissing at the phone booths and stuff. Yeah. That's what he sounds like to me at this point.
Yeah. There was one guy... there was this homeless guy who I don't know what, I think he was homeless. He was definitely an alcoholic with like a group of other alcoholics, and we were outside the Burger King that was there, about 15, and he was called Foster Wells, and this woman went, fuck off back to prison and get bummed, Foster Wells. We became obsessed with shouting Foster Wells everywhere we went.
Fuck off, get back to prison and get bummed. Wow.
Yeah, I remember thinking, and then he had to go at me, he started shouting at me, and I was like, oh, Foster Wells, can you just please leave me alone? I just sat eating my Foster chips. Wells, yeah. I'd just been to Kex, I'd just been to CEX and bought like King Arthur, the video game. I wanted to go home and play it. Yeah, heady days.
Foster Wells was getting in your fucking grill.
Yeah, I didn't need it. So French, he was back in France. The last time the English fought the French was like at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, wasn't it? Like 1815 era. So like this is a bit later. So, but there might have still been. So the English and the French were in a war, so the Welsh could just pop over. So I suppose that makes sense.
I'm assuming, yeah. I'm guessing maybe there wasn't as much because he was a Welsh boy. Maybe he was less animosity. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in 1866, then he came back to Wales. He settled in the town of Llantrisant, eventually taking a farmer's daughter as a new partner called Gwenllian Llywelyn. Oh. She was only 21 at the time, and he was 66. So he was a little fucking, what's the word?
Cradle snatcher?
Pedophile? Cradle snatcher, that's the word. Yeah, pedo. Cradle snatcher is what I was about to say grave robber. I think I've had too much to drink. Cradle snatcher, there we go. 5 years after getting together with Gwenllian, he wrote a book.
So what happened to his previous girlfriend, the Count?
He binned her off when he went to France. That was his daughter, the Countess.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, he just binned her off. He does that a lot. I'm just spoiler alert. He does that a lot to his wives. He just bins them off. For someone who was preaching about not wanting marriage because it's slavery to women, he does it a lot.
Maybe he does that, so hoping they'll divorce him, so he doesn't have to go through with it all.
Yeah, I'm just trying to prove my point. Okay. So he came back to Wales, right? He settled in Llantrisant. Took this Gwenllian as his wife. She was a young girl, and this is brilliant. 5 years after they got married, he wrote his own book, right? But it was in his own invented form of Welsh language.
So not even Welsh.
It's not Welsh. It's like his own made up thing. He stated that this gobbledygook he wrote this book in was in fact the original untarnished Welsh, like the pure Celtic language, if you like. The rough translation of the book title was "The Will of My Father," and in it, Price talked about how the universe was actually created from a snake's egg by a supreme father god. Needless to say, it didn't make it to fucking like Richard and Judy's book suggestion, and it fell into obscurity very quickly. Probably because he wrote it in a language that literally no one could read.
That's
because
mad.
He made it up. Absolutely.
It's like when Bam Margera, from
oh yeah, pay me sloth.
If you don't know, Bam Margera from the what's it called, Jackass fame, he went mad like during pandemic due to like an awful drug addiction. But he started making his own language on and then writing on Instagram, and he'd like put these mad stories up, and he'd write like all this like hieroglyphics down, and be like, see, I told you, and just shout at the camera.
He'd film this like absolute like rubbish that he's written down, and it was like nothing, and he'd be like, this proves everything I've said up until now. And it's like you're just
everything.
This is just absolute scrawl, like there's nothing to it. So yeah, basically William Price did that. And yeah, the book didn't get very big sales, as you can imagine. So despite all the spiel, him and his druids were given out back in the day about marriage, as I said. He actually married Gwenllian then in a druidic ceremony in 1981. Sorry, that's meant to be 1881, I think. Yeah, 1881, on his 81st birthday. The wedding supposedly attracted quite a large crowd because of the unusual ceremony, and people that were there at the time described it as very amusing. So imagine that was a bit.
Why was it unusual?
I couldn't. Well, it's a druidic ceremony, so it wouldn't be like this typical thing. And instead of being like, "Oh my god," I'm awe-inspired because like how pagan it is. Everyone just said it was amusing, so I imagine they're just sniggering at him the entire time.
Oh, bless him. He's just a madman, isn't he?
Oh, he's gone nuts, yeah. And by 1983, Price had proclaimed himself the, and I quote, high priest of the sun grown old, and said that a druidic prophecy told him to have a male heir. Dissatisfied that he didn't have a son yet, he managed to, and I don't know how he did this, convince a virgin named Gwenllian, not the same woman he was married to. Yeah, same name as his ex-wife. She was 18 years old at the time, so he was 83 at this point.
Oh, God.
She convinced this 18-year-old to marry him, have a go on his old decrepit fucking wiener, and then she gave birth to a son later that year. He decided to call his son, listen to this is great. He decided to call his son Yesi Greased, which is literally the Welsh for Jesus Christ. And he claimed that his son Yesi would go on to lead Wales and Britain someday. This was sadly not the case, and this is quite sad, because Yesi Grease died at 10 months old from natural causes, which is sad. Price believed it was wrong to pollute the earth by burying a corpse in it, so he decided to have his son cremated. An act at the time that was very, very taboo. It wasn't a done thing back then. So on 12th of January 1884, men in Price's employ carted wood, coal, and a cask of pitch to the top of Caerlan Hill in Llantrisant, and in the evening of the following day, wearing white robes, he carried his son in his arms up the hill and placed his body on the pyre before chanting a strange requiem and setting the pyre alight. Locals noticed the fire up on the hill and began to gather near the service. Before long, word had spread that Price was cremating his deceased son, and the local sergeant of the police and his officers rushed through the crowd to stop it. The police snatched the baby from the fire, extinguishing the flames and arresting William Price for illegal disposal of a corpse. Now, this is pretty grim. The police then, they picked up Jesse Greast's corpse from the pyre, and they chucked him in a straw hamper head first. The hamper was too small to like hold the baby's entire body, so Jesse's fucking like charred feet were poking out the top.
Oh Jesus!
It's just like, have some fucking humanity in it, Jesus.
Yeah, it's too inhumane to burn this body. Let me just throw it into a bin.
Basically in a wicker bin, with his fucking feet sticking out the top.
Oh, bless Jesse Greast.
So a doctor performed a post-mortem on Jesse and found no
what,
foul
he's
play.
dead?
yeah, this baby's gone. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, cheers, Doc. Needed that one.
Yeah, definitely not alive. Okay, so the doctor performed this post-mortem on Jesse Greast, and it's fucking such a mad sentence to say that, because Jesse Greast in like going to a Welsh school, you've literally only used that for Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, he found no foul play. It was natural causes, or whatever. So they didn't, they didn't have to charge William Price with any foul play or anything like that.
Yeah.
Price still went to court in Cardiff, though, because of this charge of illegal disposal of a corpse.
Yeah.
But he argued to the judge that while the law does not state that cremation is legal, it also doesn't explicitly state that it's illegal.
Mm.
The judge didn't really have an answer to this, so he agreed with Price. He was freed without charge, returning home to Llantrisant, and a lot of supporters there were very, they were cheering him.
It just feels like he's one of those blokes who just like lord to himself. He knows like nutters who just like do anything, and like
he's like fucking Forrest Gump. He just like fucking floats through life, and like things just go all right for him.
Yeah.
Absolute nutcase.
Well, I was gonna say he's a bit like Jeremy Clarkson on the farm, where he doesn't get right permission. But I don't know if that's the best analogy. I don't know if Clarkson would throw his child onto a pyre. If I told you this baby was going 400 miles per hour, you think I was crackers.
This is going to be the best cremation in the world.
I always like doing the old Clarkson where he goes, if I told you this car was doing 180, you think I was crackers. What if I told you it was 220?
What if I told you that the law states that cremation is not only legal, but it's not illegal? Am I right?
Yeah. Come on, hamster. Fuck off, Clarkson.
James May would absolutely be that fucking sergeant.
Yeah.
Going, you can't cremate a baby on this hill, all right? I'm going to chuck him in a little wicker basket head first. That was probably the worst fucking James May impression.
And it was quite a bad Clarkson, but I just like saying, if I told you. Because he's always saying that. He's always saying, if I told you, you think I was bananas. All right, sorry, enough bad accents today.
Sorry. So, yeah, judge agreed with him. Price was off the hook, right? So then later on March 14th, he was finally allowed to cremate his son. This actually set a precedent across the entire UK, leading to the Cremation Society of Great Britain to campaign for and succeed in passing the Cremation Act in 1902. So that's thanks to William Price. That's how you can fucking cremate people today.
This is why I love this pod, because I love tidbits and little facts and stuff.
Little bits of knowledge, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I want to go. Have you ever spoke about how you want to die? I know it's a bit morbid, but what you want to happen to your body?
Oh yeah, just fucking burn me up, innit? Like
I
almost want to be like I remember my granddad saying, like, when I go, just put me in a fucking bin out the back garden and set me alight, and I was like, yeah. You can't do that though. Like
illegal disposal of a body.
I'm not doing a pricey. Okay, I don't want to have some fucking sergeant put you in a fucking wicker bin.
Yeah, they might start a movement, the Wicker Bin Society, all thanks to Jack Newby.
But yeah, I get the sentiment what he's on about. He's like, don't waste your money on paying.
Oh no, I don't mind that bit. I mean, like physically where you want to be. Like I want to be cremated, and then I want my ashes to be thrown on Constitution Hill in Aberystwyth, and because it's a nice place. And I watched this TV show called Mystery in Between, and the guy in there's someone who talks about cremation. I won't say it because I've recommended it before, so people should watch it. But he mentions that like you don't die, you just change into something different, and you just. And I think I'd love to be a part of the Hill. And Aber is such a mad student town where I could just watch from the Hill the bedlam that descends
live vicariously through all the
as a mountain, just going, oh, you know, pound party tonight at peer pressure. just like carry on living.
You in the afterlife would be, I'm just a mountain, lads. You know, I'm like, I'm just a fucking mountain. Like, I could absolutely imagine that.
Yeah, I've just become the biggest thing. No, actually, probably the most all-powerful thing in this afterworld right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying we will fight, but if we did fight, like, I'd probably win, wouldn't I?
You'd probably be like a little stone or something like that. Wouldn't you?
You're just in the ground in fucking like Landa fucking cemetery, and I'm
that's what I mean.
I'm
like
in a mountain.
Yeah. And it's the sun sets in the west, and Abba's got this beautiful, like truly beautiful sunset. So I could watch the sunset as a mountain. What have you ever done? So I've got off track.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Right. Anyway, where was I? I can't even remember where I was now. Right. So yeah, he passed the Cremation Act and all that. Like thanks to William Price. So there we go. Cheers, fucking Pricey. So media interest after this whole shenanigans in Cardiff Court and everything, it gave him a bit of like 15 seconds of fame nationwide because of how everything turned out. And so he began selling medals depicting this. I mentioned that he thought in this fucking made up book that he did that the universe was made from a snake egg.
Yeah.
So he started making these medals that depicted a snake egg universe, and he sold them for 3 pence each. I tried to work out how much that is today. It's about £3. £3 in today's money for like some fucking knockoff tat. And it also, this is great. He was invited to speak at a lot of public functions, but completely biffed it because no one at these functions could understand what the fuck he was on about. So he never got invited back. So he got like one and done in like a few places.
Off the circuit.
Like, no need to come back, mate, because no one understood what the hell you were talking about. Because he was just speaking madness. So in 1884, then Price's wife, the second Gwenllian now, gave birth to another son. And guess what he called him? He called him Yessi Greased.
Oh, Jesus Christ. How old is he now? Like 80-something?
He's at 84 at this point. So he got Yessi Greased 2.0.
Yeah.
And he also had a daughter.
Well, just like Jesus Christ, he came again.
Well,
He's
exactly,
back.
yeah. Wait, bear that in mind because there's something coming up now. But he also had a daughter then 2 years later called Penelope. Very strange name. But anyway, he once again stated that his son was destined for great things and that he was the second coming of Jesus Christ and would reign over the earth. But I was like, that would technically be the third, right? Because your first Jesus Christ was the second. Yeah. I don't know, but
I mean, I wouldn't think, take this guy's. I wouldn't call him up on that issue. I think.
Yeah, your cognitive reasoning, William, is not quite making sense. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, he very much thought that the second Yessi Grease would rule the world or whatever. Gwenllian then separated from Price. Probably had enough of his fucking foolishness by this point, I imagine, and took the kids with her. Price died in his home then in Llantrisant.
Which is like Cardiff, isn't it? It's like outside of Cardiff.
It's not far from Cardiff, yeah. It's South Wales. So Price died in his home in Llantrisant a few years later, 1893. So Gwenllian separated from him. I think it was 3 years prior to this. So he was 93 years old. He had a fucking good innings. Apparently his final words were, "Bring me a glass of champagne." And he reportedly downed the champagne in one fucking swig and then died. What a legend.
I wish that would be me with a pint of Carling. That's how I'm going out.
Bring me my Carling.
Fuck off.
Yeah. He was he was also cremated on a pyre on the same hillside that his son was cremated on. And the service was watched by 20,000 people, which is no mean feat. That's a huge crowd. His family all dressed in traditional Welsh and Druidic clothing in his honour. He stated in his will that his ashes would not be collected, but they were to be left to be spread across the earth by the wind. to help the grass and the flowers grow. Gwen Llian, his, just to remind you, the 18-year-old virgin that he married at one point, she later remarried, this time, right, to a road inspector for the local council. I think she just wanted to fucking break from like the shenanigans and the madness. What an absolute opposite end of the spectrum. Yeah. Like, who was your ex-husband? He used to call himself the father of a dying son, or whatever the fuck it was. What do you do? I'm a road inspector at the council. Sold. I'm Clive. I fucking look at roads. Cheers.
That's
she
funny.
Unsurprisingly, she changed Yessie Greast's name. Change it to Nicholas. So old Nick didn't end up fulfilling his father's prophecy of ruling the earth, but I imagine he was very thankful to have his name changed from Yessie Greast to Nick. So that's basically the story of William Price, but I do have some bonus facts that I think are worth mentioning.
I got one, but I imagine you're gonna mention it.
So he was, fact number one, he was a nudist, and he refused to wear socks. He thought socks were dirty, so he wouldn't wear. Instead of wearing socks because he thought they were dirty, he just walked around barefoot everywhere like some grub, like some fucking hobbit. He anytime he had coins on his person, he'd wash them because he feared that they were the cause of cross contamination. He was an anti-vaxxer.
Well, that's conflicting.
Yeah, because he was a doctor as well, which is strange.
Yeah. But also, he's like aware of contamination, so he's quite a. Yeah.
He's an oddball, mate. He's not exactly
Were vaccinations safe
boy.
then? I'm not getting into that wormhole. We're gonna get a bunch of people screaming at us.
Yeah,
they're not safe now, you sheep.
You've been taking over the 5G.
Anyway, you're a COVID idiot. You're a fucking COVID idiot, you bastard.
Cove idiot. It's
what, I used to see that written down on Twitter a lot for like COVID.
Cove idiot.
Yeah, because it only really works written down. It's not great to say out loud.
It's brilliant. Cove idiot. He actually refused to treat any patients that smoked. Saying that they reap what they sowed. Which is mad. What's the Hippocratic oath? Like, you gotta. Doesn't apply to smokers.
He's a law to himself, this man.
Well, yeah, the guy's not consistent. He was a vegetarian, and he claimed, and I quote, "Meat brought out the beast in man."
Wow.
So don't eat meat.
It's quite. Yeah, I like him.
He also thought most doctors, I quite like this one, he thought most doctors were poison peddlers, as he called them. They'd rather sell you drugs than fix the actual issue.
He
knows commentary on modern times. He knows Big Pharma. He knew where he was going.
Big Pharma.
He's actually, anyone who's familiar with Pontypridd, I don't know how many listeners will be, but there's these famous roundhouses in Pontypridd, right? They're very old, from his time. He's responsible for the building of those roundhouses, right? But this is hilarious. What he did is he went to a builder and he convinced the local builder that he owned the land and said, "Can you build me these houses or whatever?" He didn't own the land and he never paid the guy. He just wanted some round buildings. And when they went, "Oh, it's done, can you pay me?" He was like, "I don't know what you're on about." And so these roundhouses are still there now. He just fucking duped this guy.
What is this guy just going through life being troublesome?
Yeah, trickster.
What does he look like? I want to Google. Is there any photos of what he looks like?
Yeah, just Google William Price Wales.
Fucking hell.
He looks like yeah, you've seen it, haven't you? God. The little fox, the fox head.
Absolute maniac.
Right, I put that as the album art for this episode.
Okay, great. So if you follow us on like most platforms, you'll just see what he looks like. Yeah.
There's so another fact. Next fact is there's a statue of him in Llantrisant, dressed in all his like mad clothes, like his fox hat and his like fucking big robes and everything.
I'm a vegetarian, but I will also wear
a fox hat, and finally, and this was very interesting to me, this is a very newish sort of fact, Robert Downey Jr. said that William Price was his influence for the version of Dr. Dolittle that he played in the 2020 film adaptation that he starred in.
That's what.
And he got.
Sorry, go on.
Robert Downey Jr. got absolutely roasted and torn apart for his fucking abysmal Welsh accent. And if you've seen any clips of him, doing that as Dr. Dolittle. It's
Should we drop that in
fucking
here?
dire. Oh, we have to. It's dire.
We're in their sights! Cannons are taking aim! Let's turn this ship! Enemy! Starboard aft! Elliot, you and Elsie, ready the machine! Don't worry, Cheech. You rise to the occasion. Huh? You're stronger than you know. Now remember, courage is not the absence of fear.
It's a really bad... I think Robert Downey Jr. is a fucking class actor, but my God, what a misstep that was, trying to do a fucking Welsh accent.
Was he? So that's the thing I knew. I knew that Robert Downey Jr. played... William Price, but was he based on Dr. Dolittle? Was William Price actually based on Dr. Dolittle?
I don't think so. I looked into thinking, oh, is that where that whole story comes from? He just based his version of Dr. Dolittle on William Price. I don't fuck knows why. And also, you think like if you're a multi-million-dollar like fucking big shot in Hollywood.
Can I read what he said? Robert Downey Jr. said he found a picture of Dr. William Price and decided to base his titular character of the film Dolittle on the man. Before I signed on, I was just Googling weirdest Welsh doctor. And I don't want to just do another English accent, he told Joe Rogan. So this is guy, William Price, who's a nutty Welsh doctor. He's a neo-druidist. He's someone who believed we could communicate with all nature. So yeah, imagine Googling weirdest Welsh doctor.
Weird Welsh doctor.
Yeah. I wonder why he made him Welsh. That's cool, though, that he knew that we could... Isn't it mad that we're proud when people know we exist? Like, people in other countries don't have to deal with that. They don't have to debate that if they're still a country, if they're this or that. It's just mad that we're still... it does my head in.
I watched, I said yes last night. I was up till fucking stupid o'clock. Yeah. I was actually watching history stuff, Welsh history stuff, right? I got an episode idea and everything, but one of the things I watched was this, my... penchant for watching videos where it's like an expert an expert watches like films and like comments on it. It was like a pirate expert, and she was like looking at judging pirates and films and whatever, and they went on to Captain Morgan at one point, and not once at all did she mention that he was Welsh. Not a single time. And I was really annoyed because I was like, they talk about Edward Teach, bloody Blackbeard, and all that, and we're saying like, he was an English pirate, he was this, that, that, and they absolutely attribute a nationality to him. And then when they got about Captain Morgan, they didn't say a thing about being Welsh. And I was like, come on, just a nod. I don't want a huge thing about it. Just say he was a Welsh pirate.
It is mad how to justify a country. It's tiring, isn't it? I realise this episode's gone on for ages. We probably should wrap up.
Oh yeah, probably. And that is my lot, by the way. That's that the Downey Jr. thing was my last factoid. So that's William Price. That's a whistle-stop tour of William Price and his fucking crazy life.
And he lived to 92. That's a good old innings.
Not bad for that time of
nearly a whole century of a mad era. Well, he was really interesting. I really liked that. So diolch Rhys for suggesting that, and thanks Jack for researching it. Let's wrap this up. Otherwise, we'll run out of time.
Yeah.
But diolch, get around on Patreon, get around on socials. Tales from Wales podcast. We love you. Goodbye.
Cheers. Ta-ta.